Hello. So my name is Dr. Mindy Rutherford from Ohio University, and this is our first online module for EDTE 1000, and we're starting at Chapter 1, which is all about becoming a teacher. I also have a picture of our textbook at the bottom corner if you need it. So, for this unit, we're going to be taking a look at the rewards and challenges of teaching. We're going to be looking at what do we mean by being a professional in teaching, how do you get your job, and some behaviors that will help you be successful in this career. Let's start though with a self-test, just to look at some of your own reasons to be a teacher. So I'm going to show you 6 statements, and you need to rate how much you agree with them. 1, strongly disagree. 4, strongly agree. That's your scale. So again, I put the scale at the bottom to be helpful. Statement 1. Job security is the major reason I want to become a teacher. Job security. Number 2, long summer vacations are important to me. Number 3, it's my desire to work with young people. Number 4 is because I want to contribute to society. Number 5 is my interest in the subject matter that makes me want to teach. And lastly, number 6, I'm considering teaching because of the opportunities of a lifetime of self-growth. Okay, so you should have 6 scores somewhere on your paper. I want you to compare this to averages of over 25 years of surveying prospective teachers to see how you compare. So job security got a 2.5, summer vacations 2.3, working with young people much higher, 3.7, contributing to society 3.6, that's good. Subject matter a little bit lower, but still better than summer vacations, and job security, same thing with self-growth. So you can kind of see in general across the US what people's main reasons tend to be for going into the field of teaching. And again, the lowest one being summer vacations. Let's start off looking at some of the challenges and rewards that go along with our chosen field. We're going to start with challenges. I'd like for you to first just kind of think in your head, when you think of teaching, what seems to be some of the obstacles or challenges that you foresee in the path in front of you? Let's see if maybe some of them show up on our list, okay? So number 1, complexities of classrooms. Classrooms can be very unpredictable. You might have everything lined up and you think that everything's going to go perfectly, but you just never know what might happen. Multitasking is such an important part of being a good teacher because there are so many things going on at once. I thought that this little meme here from Twitter was somewhat relevant. Admin in 2020, please be prepared to teach online, in person, both simultaneously on a moving train while juggling in a burning building under the sea, during a wrestling match with a T-Rex, as a hologram, and riding a unicorn. Also, be safe and we value you. Okay, so obviously it's very tongue-in-cheek, but just the idea that especially during our current climate with COVID, teachers are having to be prepared to teach just about anywhere and any way. Another thing that goes along with complexities of classrooms, events can occur simultaneously. So you could be in the middle of giving a spelling test while one student is throwing up because they're sick and another student is cheating, and you've just had a student come into class late, and you're having to deal with all of these things at once. You need to learn how to prioritize and make quick and effective decisions. What needs to happen first, and how do you take care of all these things? I thought it was kind of related to, actually I should point that way to make it, this book that I found called Teach Like Your Hair is on Fire, is what that made me think of. I also thought this was nice. I saw this on Facebook. It said, pray for the teacher that feels in over her head, who walked into her loud classroom to someone rolling the floor and another writing on the desk, who is wondering if she picked the right profession today. Teaching can be challenging. It is a lot to handle sometimes at once. Something else that goes under the category of complexities of classrooms is that classrooms are public spaces. Your decisions can be under a great deal of scrutiny. You might even be videotaped. by your students and not be aware of it. You might hear from parents, from other teachers. There are going to be a lot of people who scrutinize what you do and don't do in your classroom. All right, number 2. Now we're under the category of working conditions. So previously was classroom complexities, now is working conditions. Multiple roles. Be ready to wear a lot of hats. One moment you're a test proctor, take it off. The next moment you're a counselor because you have a crying student, take that off. The next moment you are a coach and you're trying to motivate someone who's having a hard time. You're going to be going back and forth, doing a lot of different things. Also, on your shoulders with this job is the responsibility of the health and safety of your students, let alone their learning. And in today's climate, those are some pretty big shoes to fill. Under working conditions also, trying to find time for all the things that go into teaching. So you're in your classroom teaching from, let's say, 9 to 3:30 every day. What about all the time you need to plan for that? To grade your assessments and your homeworks? It's a lot. So it's the working conditions, sometimes it is a lot to balance. The need for supplies, the need for help. You're not always going to have the things that you need. They will not always be supplied to you by your schools or your districts. Here's an example. Here's a post that I saw on Facebook from Parkersburg, West Virginia, where I'm from. And it talks about, here's one teacher fixing her desk in her room herself, paying for the hardware. Another teacher buying her own supplies to help her students. Another teacher looking for bargain outlets for blinds for her classroom. Here's a post from my sister-in-law, who also teaches within Wood County, West Virginia, talking about how year after year she buys supplies for her students because sometimes parents just don't simply supply these things. So under working conditions, I also need to add parents. That you're going to be dealing with parents, some of whom are not very involved, some of whom are not going to be very supportive of you. This is a friend of mine who teaches at Parkersburg High School, and I thought this was an interesting post. So it talks about parental involvement declining, and it says, let's see if I can get my cursor up here, parents are the hugest influencers in the situations we deal with every day. This was about an assignment that a teacher used to give where she would say, I want parents to write a letter to me. What do I need to know about your kids? Tell me about your kids so I can know them and teach them well. You can see here in 2003, she got a huge stack of letters. 2017, not so much. That you're gonna, need to find ways to reach out and get these parents involved. All right, number 3 for challenges. It's a big category, jobs, money, and politics. And one of the things that goes along with this is the ups and downs in job openings. Some years it's a huge market and they're looking for tons of teachers. Some years it's very tight and you might have to move if you want to find a position. I thought I would show you what the job outlook currently looks like in our different areas. So I'll start with kindergarten and elementary teachers. It does list the median pay, but keep in mind that greatly varies depending upon where it is that you're working. You can see the job outlook for the next 10 years, actually the next 8 years, slower than average. Middle school teachers, same thing, slower than average. High school teachers, fast as average. I have to say, this was 2 years old. I do believe that what has happened with COVID is going to cause a lot more openings in the market. Something else that goes along with jobs, money, and politics, teacher salaries and walkouts. Every so often there are strikes and walkouts that have to do with contract negotiations and salaries. This meme over here to the right was actually put out somewhat recently due to COVID, and teachers talking about how they feel like babysitters and saying, okay, fine, pay me the babysitter rate. Look how much money I would make. These are pictures from the West Virginia teacher strike in 2018. Both of my sister-in-laws, they're pictured there on the right, were there. One is a kindergarten teacher and the other is a second grade teacher. And this is where teachers really came together and stood up for not just salary increases, but other contract negotiations, and were able to get their way. All right, so those are all the challenges. I thought I'd put this question out to you. Do you think teaching is more or less challenging than it has been in the past? Why? Right now, I'd say it's more challenging. COVID. I know teachers right now that are having to prepare to teach both online and face-to-face simultaneously, breaking classes up into groups where they meet with some Monday, Wednesday, and some Tuesday, Thursday, and lots of uncertainty. So I'd say right now it's probably the most challenging it's ever been. Okay, those are the challenges. Let's put that behind us and focus on rewards. What are the great things about teaching? First of all, I think that I'm so glad we're starting with this one. The joy of teaching. Teaching has been found to be a career choice that is associated with higher than average levels of satisfaction and happiness. Now, before even reading about this survey, I knew this because I have friends that do all kinds of jobs, ranging from, oh goodness, medical doctors, FBI agents, lawyers, anything you can think of. And when we get together and talk about our jobs, those of us who are teaching are the happiest with what we do. So I think that says a lot. Don't take my word for it. Let's look at data. Here's a Gallup poll looking at life evaluation. How do people evaluate or feel about their life? Number 2, the second highest scoring one, K through 12 teachers. Here's another article I found. It says, shocker, humanities grads are gainfully employed and happy. And here you can see they're looking at humanity graduates and what their fields are. And you'll notice one of their top fields is education. And it says that, studies come out, not only are they employed, but they're very happy with their life, which is obviously fabulous news. All right, so another big reward within the realm of teaching, intrinsic, emotional. The fact that you want to guide the next generation, you want to connect with students, help them grow, make this world better. The idea that, teaching is where it all starts. All careers start off with teachers in the K through 12 system, and then their students go all kinds of places. I thought I'd show this as an example. Here's a post I made, obviously, a few years ago on Facebook about my daughter. She had a very difficult time adjusting to preschool. In fact, her first preschool experience lasted 2 days, and I had to pull her out. And then her next experience was a whole year of her crying and being sad about going to preschool. And here she was in pre-K, and I'm just posting about how much her teachers changed her life and what an impact they had, and to see her finally excited about school because of her teachers. Here's another one. This is my sister-in-law talking about herself as a teacher and saying how she spent a lot of time working with a parent and a child during COVID, and how it said, you'll notice it says, last night and this morning is the first time since all this stuff going on that I felt like I was making a difference. And none of it had anything to do with actual schoolwork. It had to do with the relationships I have with my students. And that says it all. And then over on the other side, we have a post from myself, just talking about how, great my daughter's first grade teacher was in terms of making connections with students. All right, so here's a short video just showing some really great happy moments about teachers touching students' lives. Whoa.
So they are more curious and eager to learn what is going to happen in the class.
Okay, they're all yours. Okay, they're all yours. Let's see what it does. So what do you think then? Looks pretty cool?
He's crying.
That's awesome. Hey, come here. Come here, dude. Oh, I'm so happy for you.
I hope you found that video as inspiring as I did to really show you how teachers truly care about their students. So along with intrinsic rewards, we also have intellectual rewards, really wanting to challenge our students to see them grow cognitively and be stimulated by our lessons, to inspire them and teach them things that perhaps otherwise they wouldn't know. This is a post from a friend of mine who taught at my daughter's school, and I love this. It said, I knew this day would come. They didn't need my help anymore. It was the strangest feeling in the world. They didn't need my guidance. It was the strangest mix of proud, happy, and sad I ever felt, seeing them grow that way. So here's a question for you. For which group of teachers, elementary, middle, or high school, are the emotional rewards the greatest? So emotional, which one do you think is the greatest? To be honest, it's hard to say. I mean, little ones, elementary, they're so intrinsically motivated and curious and lovable. But in middle school is when they so need teachers that are supportive and understanding. What about intellectual rewards? Well, it's possible you might see more of that in high school as you see your students blossom and move on to graduate. I think you can see these rewards in all levels. Okay, we've done intrinsic, which is what's inside. What about extrinsic rewards? Okay, outside of you. Job security. Well, that may not be all that important to you right now while you're in college, but believe me, when you graduate, job security is pretty darn important. The idea of getting a job where you have not only a union that supports you, but a contract and that you have a future in your career, very important. Here's an odd one. Summer vacations. Now, I know that ranked low on the list of reasons why people become teachers, but it certainly is a nice bonus to have your summers off. Do keep in mind, though, even though you have summers off and holidays, teachers still always find time to work. There's simply never enough time for planning for lessons, getting supplies, grading things. But yes, summer vacations and holidays are a nice bonus. When we talk about extrinsic rewards, another one of them is a positive work climate, that you're working with people that share the same passion as you, that they want to work with students of a given age range. They want to share their joy of their subject matter and try to make students not only learn more, but have a better place to go. And this is a picture from my sister-in-law. She's always, talking about how much she loves and cares for the teachers that she works with. And adding to our list, we have work schedules. That can certainly be a bonus. That you know that you're not going to be working necessarily till 5 p.m., that you do have long Christmas breaks, that your work schedule sometimes works well also if you're a parent. Now here's a picture I posted from my sister-in-law. It says, my Sunday view since school has started. Yeah, you might have slightly shorter days, but again, you're still going to need to find time to be in your classroom and get things prepped and ready. And then finally, it can help you be a better parent. I know when I first had my daughter, I think that more than any of the courses that I took, the thing that helped me the most with her was being a teacher and learning to work with students and children. All right, so we're going to end rewards on teaching with looking at just a simple question. Do teachers make a difference? Do we? Well, parents in general say we do. Parents in general, they are satisfied with their own child's education. This graph here down below is showing how do parents feel about their own child's education, their oldest child. And you can see there the darker green color shows that those that are completely or somewhat satisfied, and down here those that are dissatisfied. So they're satisfied with their own kids' development. Interestingly though, they're not as satisfied with the system as a whole. So look down here at satisfied is now on the bottom and dissatisfied is at the top. So in general, parents think the system, not so great, but their own teachers, doing a good job. Research also validates this, and they say, in fact, that teachers have the greatest influence, the #1 influence over student academic growth. And that, in fact, excellent teaching is more important than a lot of things like class size, looking at how much money the school draws in, etc. That excellent teaching is the #1 thing you can do to impact your students' cognitive growth. All right, so this is going to be where we pause. So this is just the first part of chapter 1. When I see you again, we'll be talking about the teaching profession. So thank you for your attention.